Welcome everyone, Maté talk time. So what happened last week? I'm sorry. Last week was super intense. We had a massive, probably 12 days, just day and night. I don't know if anyone who is connected, for those who are connected with me on Instagram, you would have seen that image and that song, Working Day and Night, or Night and Day, Working 9 to... Anyway, no, I was actually singing Working 9 to 5. But anyway, and without any level of exaggeration, I was getting up at 5:30 in the morning and I wasn't getting back home till about 11 p.m. at night. And it was go, go, go all the way through. So it was like, last week was intense. First things first, I was meant to, okay, before I go any further, I will show you, have a look at this. What? We did actually start filming something last week. On the Monday, we finished early. We had to set up lighting and stage all the cameras and all the rest of it. And we finished early and we thought this is cool. So we went and we started to film. I'll tell you at the end of the video, if you want to stay to the end and watch that, watch what happened and watch what evolved from there. You're welcome to, but yeah, so we attempted. I promise we attempted, but it didn't work out. What I want to do before I go any further is I was meant to do last week the raffle for these incredible Amouage gifts. We've had a huge boost, a huge jump forward when it comes to membership on the channel, so thank you. That's totally awesome. Have a look at this. Look at these amazing people. I'm going to set this to record. 3, 2, 1, here we go. Boom! Oh my gosh. This wheel needs to get bigger. I need to get like a real wheel, like a, you know, one of those big things. Anyway, so before I go any further, everybody on this list, you have an option of winning the Cedrat, whoops, and juggling, the extrait versions of the Amouage or the Love Collection. The person who happens to come out first, your choice. We begin. Good luck, everyone. TC. I know who TC is. Thomas. Have you won before, my friend? I don't know if you have, but Thomas, my congratulations. Either this, you'll get it before Christmas, by the way. I'm going to send this today. Send me a quick message. I think I might even have your address. Send me a quick message on DM. Which one do you want? And now for the second person, good luck. Next person, here we go. So exciting. Ooh, ah. Oh, Sean, you were so close. I actually thought you were going to win that, my friend. Scent and Style. Congratulations to you. So my gut says that this one's gone. So Scent and Style, I'm gonna say this is the one that's coming in your direction, but I could be wrong. Thomas, you have first pick. Let me know and I will get that out to you guys. All right, I'm gonna stop this recording. Boop, there it is. All right, so let me show you this. I'm gonna move things around. If you could see the perfumes that I've got lined up here, goodness me. Oh. Hope you have a mate. I'm in not a hurry, but I'm like, let's go, baby. So hopefully you have an awesome drink. Maté Talk is about awesome drink, which in my case is a mate, and friends talking about, in this case, perfumes. But let me show you this. So I've been bragging. Boom, look at this. So I had this finally framed. This is the International Maté Talk 2023 poster. I mentioned that we're going to create one every year. Behind me is 2022. They are for sale, so jump on the NFC website. You can buy one. They're all signed. There's only going to be 10 made. This one here is 11. That's 11. So that's my artist proof. I just want to make sure that everything looks right. And so I framed this guy here. But look at that. Yeah, I'm super happy with this. The quality. I was going for that old style Art Deco, you know, those old Art Deco posters that they would, you know, promote stuff. Yes, anyway. So there it is. It's got Obviously, it's all dated with the International Maté Talk 2023. The brands are down the bottom there, which is, in this case, was Pierre Guillaume, go this way, Pierre Guillaume and Meo Fushuni. So, and then as you can see on this side here, they're signed and all the rest of it. So if you'd like your exclusive premium quality poster, and now I think they made them all to A1 side. Again, the website has it all. But if you would like one of those, jump on the website and go ahead and order. Pricing includes shipping anywhere in the world. Bada bing. All right, so let me move on to one more announcement, and then I'll get into these incredible fragrances that I have before me. And that is the France Fragrance Tour 2024. Kevin and I have been talking about doing the VIP hot list. That was a huge success. We've already sold half the tour. So we've got half the number of people that we want to take with us. There are obviously spots left. The website is now open. So so here it is. This is our brand new KM Fragrance Tours website. Looking beautiful, if I say so myself. And jump on that, have a look at what we're doing, all the different things. Now we are slowly releasing, so the dust is settled with all the brands that we're working on. There is a mailing list, so if you want to know more about what we're going to be doing for this particular tour, then put your name on the mailing list. We'll make sure that we keep you updated as it happens. The one big thing that we want to announce, so we want to do it slowly because otherwise it's too much information. The bottom line is it's an 8-day luxury tour in France. Kevin and I will be hosting it, so we're present with you guys. We did one this year. It was our trial in a way. We wanted to see whether this could work. Worked fantastic. It was awesome to be with all these. I'm going to move over here. I just realized. Awesome to be with all these people, seeing the behind the scenes. It was joyous. It was joyous. If you love all things niche perfumery, you're gonna love this particular thing. One thing that we are doing, we are spending 3 days in an area called Clermont-Ferrand. Say it like a boss. Clermont-Ferrand, and it's in the middle of France. Now, we will be spending time with the perfumer Pierre Guillaume, and this is where his home base is. This is where his manufacturing is. We're actually going to be spending a full day with him, doing something pretty exciting. I'm not gonna go into too much detail other than when I was there, I'll let you put the piece together. When I was there, I actually created my own fragrance in companionship or in partnership with the master himself. So it was very hands-on, tactile, and it's more than just this, yes, we're gonna explore his fragrances alongside Pierre, the creator, but we've got some other things planned. Whilst we're there, we're staying here. Boom. This is a chateau, and we've fully booked it. So it's ours. So we're not sharing it with other guests or anything like that. So this is going to be just for KM tours or the KM fragrance tours. So we have full control of the grounds, of the whole place. This is going to be like, forget about it. So if you're interested in knowing more about the tour that's happening in September, as I said, go on the website, you can see some stuff. If you want to know more about brands that we will be releasing, so right now it's Christmas, everybody's busy with that. Then New Year's, everybody's, like just shaking off festivities. So we'll start announcing more details as of, say, late Jan. So if you want to see what that will be, we're also going to Paris, and then we're going down to Grasse. We've locked in some incredible stuff with different niche perfume houses, both in those locations. I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna have a small drink. Man, I am racing because I want to get this, because I want to show you the video that we did last week, and I also want to talk about these. I've got so many perfumes in front of me but I'm gonna limit to what I have. I've got some other, anyway, let me tell you. About 2 weeks ago, I'm a little bit hypo. About 2 weeks ago, I did a whole thing on fougères, and it was awesome. The level of conversation that occurred as a result of that, it actually was instigated by one of the subscribers. They asked me, it would be good to understand fougères and what they. So I did a bit of a deep dive in all things fougère. If you want to know more about that, have a look at that episode. And I thought it's only fair that almost its companion, in this case here, you have fougère, which tends to be a bit more masculine, a bit more masculine leading. Girls, you can wear it, no problems at all, but we're going to talk about Chypres. and Chypres tend to be a lot more, not necessarily female leaning, but the history on it does lean itself towards I had once Laura, I did some productions together, and she defined Chypres as the most beautiful perfumes in the world. So the Chypre Accord, she says anything that is a Chypre is just, for her, it gets knocked out of the park. It's just glorious. I've got an incredible range of perfumes. Been wearing a few of these yesterday. I'm wearing it today, and then I'm gonna have to agree with Laura. They are incredibly beautiful perfumes, just incredible scent profiles that they have. All right, but let's go back a little bit. What is a Chypre? And this is the part that, just like a fougere, there's so many different sort of conversations on it. I mean, at the end of the day, a fougere was created the very first one was Fougere Royale, and from there it sort of went out. A lot of people attribute the Chypre to Coty, François Coty. However, a Chypre, or that Chypre Accord, actually dates back to like the 14th century or something like that. So Chypre is actually the name of Cyprus. It's the French name for Cyprus. Cyprus being the island. Now I'm like, the island here, because I should have done my research. Where exactly is Cyprus? And I think it's close to Greece or in that sort of region. So back in the 14th century, that was actually quite a pivotal point between East and West. A lot of it was like a trade route, and there was a lot of things that happened in Cyprus itself. As a result, the Cypriots, so it's an abundance of different flora and natural products there. That the Cypriot perfumers actually created an early version of a Chypre fragrance. It was like an eau de Chypre, essentially. It became very popular throughout Europe, and so the Chypre Accord has been known for many years. So yes, François Coty, I guess, brought it into a modern era, and he's attributed, or his fragrance is attributed to, you know, the birth of this whole fragrance family. But as I said, the reality is it does date back to the 14th century. What is a Chypre? And this is the part that and similar to a fougere, there is a structure to them, but now the perfume can play around with that. You know, they're not constrained by, this is how it has to be. You know, for 700 years you have to stick to this sort of formula. So the classic Chypre that was, you know, the Cypriots were building is essentially a citrus in its top note. So there's normally it's a bergamot. Then in the heart is florals, but in this case, they use things like jasmine or rose. They were the two main construct. And then in the base, and this is where the glory lives. The base is about oak moss and labdanum. So that rock rose, which grows in abundance, supposedly, which I've never seen it, so I can't say that. I've only read this, grows in abundance in Cyprus. So that's the construct. Now, the reality is, if you look at it, those notes exist in a million perfumes. You know, bergamot on the top, some florals in the heart, and then, you know, oak moss and some kind of woody components in the base, in the heart and the base here. So I referenced incredible magazines. For those who, if you really love all things and you want to know deep understanding on all things niche perfumery, check out the website. They're awesome. So this is their breakdown. This is for it to be attributed as a Chypre Accord, it needs to have this kind of composition breakdown when it comes to florals and citrus and everything else. So the fragrances that I have in front of me fall into that Chypre category. Like everything, we now have the ability to expand and be creative. I mean, yeah, I was going to say, yeah, that doesn't matter. So we want to be creative. I think creativity is what keeps us moving in life. So yes, the classic Chypre has that structure: bergamot, jasmine rose, oak moss. But now the perfumer can really expand that. So what I've got here in front of me is a range of Chypres that fall into either a fruity category or a floral or a woody, etc., etc. So we can play around with this structure, this accord, and create something magical. Let me make sure that I've covered off all our Chypres. So let's now, so again, going back to the misconception that François Coty was the first one to create the Chypre Accord. the reality is that, as I said, that always existed. And secondly, Guerlain actually released an Eau de Chypre in 1850. Coty released his in 1917. So you can see that this was around, but what made Coty's version of the Chypre explode? And that was because the women at the time, see, a lot of the fragrances in that time, so Guerlain and stuff like that, were making fragrances, but really for the elite, for the ones who had money. Coty's version went for everybody. This was a perfume for everybody. And at that time, the fragrances that women were enjoying were very, I guess, simplistic. Soft florals, some Eau de Cologne, so citrusy based, a little bit of spices in there. All of a sudden, this thing came out, accessible for everybody, and boom, the whole thing exploded. And that's what, as a result, Coty's Chypre fragrance became I guess the benchmark. And from then on, all of a sudden, there was a lot of copying going. Well, not copying, but there was that whole category of Chypre became a thing, and I guess was a companionship to a Fougère. Let's keep moving. All right. I'm looking at my notes. Check out my notes. I mean, it's like scribble, scribble, scribble. I have to not make up, but I have to remember the rest, keep it all in my brain. All right, let me, all right, one last thing. So what defines a Chypre? And primarily, and as I said before, the glory of it is that oak moss that's in the base, which creates a mossy, woody, sort of wet undergrowth scent profile to it. Originally, the Chypres fell into two categories. As you can tell, I love Chypres, by the way. Fougères, I'm okay. I mean, some people get really like hyped up on Fougères. I'm okay with Fougères. But Chypres, I don't know. I discovered I have a lot of Chypre fragrances. When I look at my collection, I had to push back. I mean, I'm only going to show you a few. But I think, and I think going back to what Laura said, Chypres are the beautiful perfumes of the world. When you start breaking down Blonde Amber. So before we started, Hannah sprayed, my editor sprayed Blonde Amber. And I'm like, man, that smells, it's a Chypre. Anyway, boom, back to this. So it has a mossy undergrowth, mossy woods. So it has this, I don't know, it has an appealing scent profile. Aventus is another Chypre style fragrance. So that gives you an idea of fragrances that really sort of we resonate as humans. They have that Chypre accord construct to them, similar to what I just shared from the Ne magazine. All right, let me begin. All right, here we go. So, good news is this. Boys or girls, men, women, males, females, anybody can enjoy the fragrance that I have here. And I'm gonna go one more. There's only one that Sandra wears, or my wife wears, as hers. I don't really wear it, and I'll tell you why. But the rest, these are all fragrances that I enjoy. So boys, don't switch off. This is not, just fragrances for women. This is fragrances for everybody. When I start showing you what I've got, you'd be like, oh wow, I didn't know that was a Chypre. It's a Chypre. Let me start with this first one here. Now, I love this fragrance. This is Pas ce Soir. It's a little bit sort of, there we go. This is Pas ce Soir by BDK. I mean, this is my in love with the world perfume. It's just a glorious fragrance. I mean, there's nothing, admittedly, as I said, this is the only one that I don't wear. And that's because my wife, Sandra, my daughter, Madison, this is their fragrance. I smell it on them. And for me, this is pure femininity. This is a glorious celebration of, and it's because I love these women that when I smell this, for me, this is a female leaning fragrance. Having said that though, if you're a man and you love more florals with a fruity touch to it, I don't see why this wouldn't work. But as I said, for me, I smell this and instantly I see my wife or I see my daughter and they both wear this and they just, yeah, it's glorious. Now, that construct, that, citrus, florals, and the oak moss. In this case here, the citrus is actually a mandarin, so it has a very sweet citrus opening. It's just beautiful. In the heart, it's Egyptian jasmine. Now that jasmine is incredible. I think it's mixed in with that orange blossom. It is just divine as a combination in those heart floral notes. And finally in the base, it does have patchouli. The patchouli, to my nose, is indiscernible. I don't pick it up. Patchouli has a musty scent, a scent profile to it, and I'm going to tell you about that in a second because I love all things patchouli, but I don't really detect it in here. The fruity component is brought to you by quince, and quince makes, I think it's quince that is that sprinkle of magic dust that's in this fragrance, because it takes it to another level. Ladies, if you are looking for the perfect all year round fragrance and you haven't come across this yet, Pas ce Soir, they've actually just released the Extrait version. I haven't smelled it, to be honest, so I don't know what it's like, but I can only imagine that some of those notes have been amped up, a bit more power to it. This fragrance, the original or the OG, is potent and punchy enough as it is. So just glorious. If in that Chypre fruity floral category, boom baby, this is absolutely amazing. All right, the next one, believe it or not, this is my fragrance, and this is X Feminine. So there is the X Masculine, I'll tell you about that in a second. This is X Feminine, and this is now a fruity Chypre. This is a very classic fruity Chypre. The floral notes in Pas ce Soir do come forward. The quince does transform it into a more fruity sort of scent profile. In this case here, this is a very divine, fruity Chypre fragrance. The magic here comes from the peach. There is a rhubarb note in there too, and I think there might be even apple, so it does have a very sort of, not overtly sweet, but there's a joyous, there's a step in there. There's also jasmine in the heart. There are woods in the base, and I think the woods are cedarwood. Now the cedarwood, it's not present. So if you as a man are not comfortable with fruity style fragrances, I don't recommend you do this, but I will tell you what you can do to assist. As a woman, if you do love your fruity fragrances, but that are not overtly too light and kind of girly, nothing wrong with that, but I mean, I wear this and I don't want a too overtly girly sort of, yeah, fragrance. But the peach and that with a bit of woods, the jasmine that's very subtle, the florals are very subtle, just incredible fragrance. I did do a review on this fragrance alone as my fragrance. Now for boys, and this is what I do, all right? So I bought this because I've owned X Masculine for many years. It's probably one of my early niche fragrances that I bought, and I companioned it with X Feminine. Now this as a combination, I'm gonna tell you, this is extraordinary. This is it's exotic. It's something, I mean, whenever I'm wearing this as a combination, I get a lot of compliments. And that is, I mean, I know that there is a vanity in that, but that's the reality. I've gone to meetings with this. Normally what I do, I love so I would put X Masculine as my base. I normally do 2 sprays and then 1 spray on top with the X Feminine, that peach note with a little bit of florals, blend it in with this woody, spicy cinnamon. It is, I'm telling you, pure magic. These two together are just they're enchanting. Actually, as a couple, they're an enchanting couple. So I've always said that X Masculine is probably one of my big favorites that I've always loved. But put those two together, forget about it. Let me move on. Let me have a small drink, please. 23 minutes, not bad, I guess. I mentioned before Aventus. So Aventus does fall into that Chypre category. It is a mossy wood style fragrance with aromatics now, so it pushes into the aromatics. If you are new to niche, so I know that niche can be quite bougie. I mean, when it comes to pricing, X Masculine is going to set you back about 600 Aussie dollars. Whereas you can have a house like Mancera. Excuse me. You can have a house like Mancera, huge bottle. I think it's 120 mils or something extraordinary. I think the pricing here in Australia is like $270, $280. Potent fragrances, they last a long time, punchy, just and really diverse. I've got an incredible collection. Now this one is Cedrat. I was going to say Cedrat Boise. It's not Boise, it's Cedrat.
Cedrat Boise.
Boise. I can't remember. Luke, who's my mon prof de français, is gonna correct me. He'll write it down. I forgot how to say it properly. I'm not even gonna attempt it. Anyway, this fragrance is extraordinary. It is a little bit more, in my opinion, a bit more masculine leaning, meaning that it has those aromatic components to it. It does have the woods components to it. It opens up with incredible citruses, and if you go to the website, they refer them to as Sicilian citruses. So I'm going to say bergamot and oranges and lemons and things of that nature, because it does have an incredibly vibrant, inviting, just alluring opening, just a classic, think classic gentleman's fragrance, and this will be it. I do know that there are fruit notes that are in there, but I don't remember what they are. There is jasmine in the heart of it, and the jasmine I think does create a beautiful floral component to it. But the magic again goes back to that base, which is the oak moss. It has woody notes and oak moss. Now oak moss is not used, has not been used in perfumery because of some sort of allergens and things of that nature. So it will have to be, or it would be, a oak moss synthetic compound. I know that oak moss has been replaced in a lot of Chypre fragrances with patchouli, and I'll talk about that in a second. This has been compared to, I think I said that before, but has been compared to Aventus. I find that the fruit component is not as pronounced as Aventus in this fragrance here. I also find that the longevity on this fragrance does, I mean, Aventus on me lasts fairly well. I get good longevity. However, this one's better. The longevity on this is definitely a lot stronger. It does go a bit sour. So that's the only thing about this fragrance here. I don't know what that is, but it does have like a slight sour note in the base of it. It could be that oak moss synthetic note that's in there. But as a long-lasting fragrance, as a beautiful aromatic Chypre style woody fragrance with a fruity component to it, this is glorious. Big recommendation. I do like this house a lot. All right, I'm gonna move on to, I recently went to the States, and I took a number of fragrances with me. I did a quiz as to, can you guess my fragrances? And nobody was able to, I showed them what they were, but no one actually chose this one. So it's my bad, basically, because I should have been talking more about Evernia. The house is Ormonde. I do like Ormonde a lot. So they're not so one thing that a lot of people say, oh, that doesn't last long. You're gonna get 5-6 hours out of them, okay? So they're not like an amouage where they just hang around, or it's not like, pas ce soir, or like a BDK where they just sort of go and go and go. So it is English perfumery, and English, from what I've discovered, English perfumery tends to be a little bit less invasive. So it's not about filling a room with it. So if you're looking for a fragrance that's just gonna, then Ormonde, from what I've discovered, don't have that kind of library of fragrances. However, if you want fragrances that are just, these are not body scents, okay? So they do have probably a moderate to a low push on them. People will detect them. They are instantly fall in love with kind of fragrances. They do have unique scent profiles, and I find that Evernia is one of those. I did take it to as I mentioned, I took it to the States. I'd like to, whenever I go, I put my fragrances on a bar for all of us, because we normally travel as a family, and they all, sort of take the fragrances or use. And this was a big hitter. So the boys all enjoyed wearing Evernia. It's a beautiful summery, spring kind of weather. I wouldn't recommend this for winter. It does now fall into like a spicy wood. On the opening, there is a beautiful, vibrant cardamom, spicy notes. I think there's clove in there too. But then when it begins to settle down, there is this glorious floral component, but it's the spicy, woody base that it has. And I think the woods have oak moss again. That oak moss, and again, it's a synthetic oak moss, but it's gorgeous. This I'm gonna say a woman could wear this too, but it's gorgeous. The opening is just seduction. It's just brings you in. It just makes you happy instantly. The dry down is glorious. It does lean a bit more masculine, as I said, with those wood components. But Evernia, 28 minutes, camera stops. I don't know what I said last, other than Evernia, glorious. I would strongly recommend it to you. Woody, spicy, Chypre style fragrance. Boom. Now, today, I mentioned before, I love patchouli. So today, I'm wearing something that is just like, I cannot. Sometimes I forget, because I'm constantly, you know, looking at new perfumes and exploring and all the rest of it, that I forget sometimes the just glorious gems that I have in the collection. And this is one. I remember when I think I got this about 2 years ago and just fell in love. We'll have a look here. I did do a review on, or a lineup on, I did recommend Richwood as one of those fragrances that just creates an incredible sillage, projection, creates incredible aura around you. I would even put this in the category of like money fragrances, where you smell this in the air, you're just like, you know, who is this person? As a compliment getter, it's phenomenal. I wear it all year round, winter, summer, whatever it may be. Just incredible. And what it is that I love, and as I said, I've come back to it, you know, in preparing for today, is that patchouli. That patchouli, I mean, I love patchouli in fragrances, but it does it in a unique way. It does it in, there is something so alluring, so divine about this patchouli, to the point. So again, Sandra, my wife, does not love the scent of patchouli, but yet in here, she detects that it's patchouli, but in here, there's so many other things going on that it's just blended beautifully. There are, so on those top notes, what it uses is, so the opening is like, you fall in love instantly. It's grapefruit, mandarin, lemon, I think it was. Boop, 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 I wrote it down. Bergamot. So, you know, grapefruit, mandarin, bergamot. So it has this citrusy sweetness in there, but already that patchouli is beginning to sort of, you know, sort of emerge and just dance around a little bit. The florals are so subtle. You have to, I literally have to stop and think to smell the jasmine or the rose, or that heart that it has. It was a jasmine, boom, boom, bing, bing, rose. That rose, you know, and you can, yeah, it's just divine. But the glory of this fragrance is that patchouli. A lot of people say, look, there is sandalwood, and a lot of people say, well, you know, Richwood, it's in reference to the Mysore sandalwood that's in there. And yeah, no problems. I don't detect it. I don't detect it as cleanly as I do the patchouli that's in here. That patchouli, and I'm actually, excuse me, I'm wearing it today. That patchouli with those early citrus notes, that rose that's in there, it's just divine. There is a chocolatey kind of vibe to it. It does have a bit of a chocolatey component to it. And again, it's that patchouli, and it's not as musty. Sometimes patchouli can become very musty. Anyway, as a woody Chypre, so this is now a classic woody Chypre, not getting fancy with, you know, other notes. Richwood, I would strongly recommend to you Richwood. It's not cheap, but a little goes a lot. All right, so I never overspray. I'm only wearing 2 sprays today, and this thing is popping on me. So I strongly recommend to you Richwood as an incredible woody Chypre. Last one. I've actually got 3 others. I'll quickly show them to you. So I've shown to you guys, you know, fruity florals and floral Chypre and, you know, woody Chypres and yada yada. So this is called Freaky Deaky Chypre. This is the most, so firstly, this is the perfumer. His name is David, he's from Romania. I met him at Essence this year, and he is an avant-garde perfumer. He makes some incredible perfumes. I have one from his collection called Age of Innocence. That is the most complex, unusual, weird, enticing, like what the heck, but amazing fragrance there is. Believe it or not, he mixes like a fairy floss, you know, candy floss thing, with like an oud note. So there's this raspberry appealing sweetness in that opening, but a sassy, what the heck is that kind of smell that lingers. Super complex. Now, this is called F2, yes, F2, and it's his interpretation of a Chypre. I'm going to say that he's adhered to that Chypre Accord, but it is the most unusual. When I first spray this, David, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I'm like, what is this creation? What is this madness? it becomes something that is really incredible. This is only for 5-star generals. I'm gonna give you a heads up. 5-star generals, this is actually, I'm gonna say veterans onward, Toskovat. I mean, beginners, I wouldn't, new recruits, I wouldn't, not yet, you know, grow into this. But this is 5-star general right here for this one here. So I'm wearing it today. It starts off with this sassy civet poopy smell. And for those, my understanding is that civet has been banned as an extraction from the animal. So it has to be a synthetic compound, but obviously the scent profile would be similar. Civet, for those who might not know, is an animal from Ethiopia, and they basically, it secretes some sort of something, paste from its anus. Who was the person that first discovered it? Anyway, they sort of scrape that, make it into a paste, and it becomes a perfume. Can you imagine? The first guy who ever came up, honey, I created this for you. Like, what are you doing? And what were you doing with that civet? Anyway, so this has that on the opening. It has this sassy civet, stinky stink. Then you're like, boo, what is going on? Oh my gosh. 5-star generals. If you can get your hand on this baby, this is really impressive. When it does begin to dry, well, so that early, I don't know, say 15, 20 minutes, once it dries down, it goes into the most unique floral with woody pine components to it. There's a balsamicness in there. There's almost like now, there's a fruity, this thing goes everywhere. There's a fruity component to it, but fruits like you've never experienced in that, like there's a fruit from Asia, which I love, which is mangosteen, has that kind of sort of profile. It's really impressive. And then this fragrance here, I find that when I sweat more, when I really get, it just produces this incredible scent cloud. Something unique, something different in that freaky deaky Chypre category. Then F2 is, F2, because he did an F7. I should have done it for the Fougère. So F7 is the Fougère version. F2 is the Chypre version. Boom, bing, boom, we're done. All right. So now let me, oh, there's more. Okay, last three. I had them lined up and I said I can't do it, but I'm just gonna show them to you. Obvious, all right. This is L by Clive Christian. This is a floral Chypre. I mean, it says it in the name, it's pretty straightforward. But if you love rose, now I wear this, all right? So boys, if you love rose, but with a lychee almost component to it, has like this fruity lychee, only on the opening, it does dry down. There is patchouli, but almost to the point of being indiscernible. When it does dry down, the rose component of it really evolves a lot more. Just incredible, just gorgeous, gorgeous fragrance. Another beautiful Chypre, Arofa. This is another, but now obviously, so it has a fruity component to it, but now with more of an aquatic, marine-like quality to it, but that's glorious. And then the last Chypre that I put forward to you is Amouage Memoir Woman. I bought this for my wife, didn't really enjoy it. I think the male version is the Fougère. This is the female for the Chypre version. It has a unusual, spicy, incense, smoky quality on the opening. So, but once you get past that, it becomes the most glorious floral component to it with a slight woody base to it. This is really impressive. So ladies, actually men, because I wear this, really impressive Chypre fragrance also by Amouage. Boom, I'm gonna end there, bada bing. So as I mentioned last week, we did do some filming. Let me show you this. All right, a whole brand new Maté talk style. We're in Fairfield. This is one of the suburbs of Melbourne. And we're gonna do a bit of a different style of Maté talk. People are looking at us a bit weird, but that's okay. Now, I mentioned to you about getting this Greek biscuit. This one's actually softer than the last one, so I'm crossing my fingers, and this was a classic. I know this biscuit, shortbread, gorgeous, all right. We had good intentions. Our cable, the cable that is for the audio, it frayed. I don't know what happened. It wasn't until we finished shooting this thing and we're watching the footage and we're like, oh my gosh. So I always carry a spare cable because it's happened to me before. And so we just thought, you know what, no big deal. We'll reshoot this. We'll come back to, what was that area called? Fairfield? Yeah, Fairfield, I think. We'll come back to this area. We'll shoot it again. It never happened because we had this little oasis on this first day. We should have taken advantage and taken a chance to rest, but no, like gung-hos that we were, we wanted to do this. So anyway, I'll show you the rest.
That biscuit Thanos was exceptional, and you're right, as a Christmas biscuit, beautiful. The gentleman that was with me, that's my gaffer. I don't know if you heard that in the conversation, but check out this place. I've mentioned before about Flaner. For those who saw the video that I did with Josh Agel in Palm Springs, I gifted him one of the Flaner fragrances. He liked, from memory, Yakasugi Wood. So they've opened up a new store in Fitzroy, the coolest place in Melbourne. And yeah, let's explore some perfumes. But you know what? Rather than me, we're gonna go complete improv. Josh, can I invite you to the shot? This is my gaffer. We're on a shoot in the city. We did the setup. It was a busy setup this morning, but now we're just chilling. Yeah. Chilling and running around Melbourne filming. Mucking around. All right, so actually this will be good. What do you like in perfume?
I'm not sure exactly.
So you don't know what you like. Actually, I already know what you would like. So this is the one that Josh Agel loved. This is Yakasugi Wood. All right, smell this. See what you think of that. Yeah, how good's that? This one here is the one for today. This is Green with Envy.
Wow, that's fantastic.
That's nice, huh? So behind the camera is the wonderful Hannah. And I already know what Hannah likes when it comes to fragrances. Just smell that, see what you think. This is Under the Rose. How good is that? Yeah, as a rose fragrance, this is like magic. Melbourneites, Flaner, come check it out. Awesome place. And I'm glad. What did you think, actually? Give me your, I want to hear what you have to say.
It's just a lovely place, everybody. Got to come check it out.
And what do you think of the fragrance?
Fragrance?
Which one?
Magnificent. Green with Envy was my favorite. Just pops in the nose, it smells beautiful. Yeah.
I've put him on the spot, but you're a good man. We're gonna do a smelling some fragrances with Josh. Smelling fragrances with Josh, a whole new segment. Boom. That was our attempt to create something different for a Maté talk last week. Josh, he was a good sport. I felt sorry for him when I was watching the footage. He was, I literally, well, you saw me, hey Josh, come on in, let's do this thing together. So I thank Josh for being a part of that. It was fun, and I'm sorry that we couldn't actually have finished it. It was crazy last week. Thanks everyone. I look forward to your comments. Tell me what you think about Chypre fragrances. What are some of your favorites? Girls, boys, anybody. This is for everyone. And as Laura said, these are the most beautiful. The Chypre Accord is the most beautiful, creates the most beautiful fragrances in the world. I would have to agree. So everyone, we'll see you all on the next Maté Talk.